Hello YouTube! I am Lightly Salted and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to UBOAT. In our last episode we had completed our first patrol with varied amounts of success, and we've returned to dock for resupply. The keen-sighted amongst you may have noticed this teeny little icon here in the corner with a counter running. This is because last night I recorded something to the tune of 2 hours of gameplay and did not hit record. I swore to myself that would not happen anymore, so I've gone ahead and enabled a function to show me that I am indeed recording at all times. Alright, let's get into the mission. I went ahead and spoke to the CO, and I've chosen to travel to the port of Bergen, located all the way up here in the Northern Sea. The mission is simple. We simply have to make it to this port. In addition, we'll be given 6 T3 torpedo prototypes, much the same as in our 126 games. And ordinarily what I do now is pick ourselves up a vacation. Since I know I'm going to be off duty for a bit, let's go ahead and take a look at HQ and see if we would like to pick up any of these handy-dandy little research projects. Accumulators would definitely be something to lean into. So I think I'm going to lean into equipment production here, start being able to make our own potassium absorbers. I will require a leader to carry out this task, and it'll take 12 days, which works perfectly. So we'll go ahead and have Mr. Hagnow depart the ship. We'll jump into HQ and get him started on our equipment research. Alright, Skipper, let's go ahead and talk to the CO. Get ourselves a break. Now, ordinarily, I would take the French Chateau to get that extra discipline. I didn't see discipline being too much of an issue when we attacked the large convoy last game. I did, however, notice that fatigue seems to be bleeding a little faster than in previous builds. That might just be my take on it. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Bavarian Village, get that extra 25% experience, and we will have our fatigue deplete 50% slower. Alright, here we are. Now, unfortunately, Mr. Hagnow could not participate in the 25% extra experience as he was completing our work in HQ. We'll go ahead and ensure that that was done. Excellent, thank you. And, of course, first things first, we will get Mr. Hagnow put back on board the ship. Very, very important to not leave your crew behind. Skipper, what can we see in the warehouse? Torpedoes are, of course, loaded up. We'll take extra food because we can. And as you can see, we now have access to potassium absorbers. We're going to go ahead and load us up with the additional 20. We're going to get some extra coffee. Now, this spare helmet, that showed up because Mr. Hagnow departed the ship. So he took his helmet off in order to leave. We'll get that additional rebreather, and let's just max out on coffee, I suppose. Alright, Mr. Hagnow, let's go ahead and get you outfitted with your dapper hat yet again. Thank you. Mr. Oldorp has his spare parts and rebreather. Mr. Watcher has his. Mr. Osterman is still kitted out with 4 medkits, so that's perfectly acceptable. Let's go ahead and plot ourselves a course. We'll get out into the Atlantic to start. My plan is to cut up through the English Channel. With any luck, we'll run into something fun along the way, and carry on to the North Sea to Bergen. Now, something I'm not sure we touched upon in earlier builds, in earlier episodes, you'll see where I have my cursor. If you look underneath menu in the top right of your screen, you can see that there's a depth shown, and you'll see that change as I move my cursor around ever so slightly. So this is telling me that at this point in the ocean, the depth is 62 meters, which means we don't have a lot of breathing room when it comes to hiding. Conversely, if we look up here where it narrows, we get down into the 20 area. So cutting through the English Channel, while it'll shave a lot of distance and time off from going all the way around the northern landmass, we are going to be in a little bit of a bind when it comes to maneuvering, as we won't be able to get very deep underwater. While we leave the dock, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the management screen. As anybody who's not new to the series would know, the management has been driving me crazy. I have officers jumping in and out of bed at all hours of the day when I need them the most. I still want the skipper on task from 7 to starting at 7 a.m. Because that's when his sight will be the most usable on the UZO. That being said, I'm going to have to tweak the rest of my crew here in order to maximize our use of them. Mr. Watcher, I believe, will be working the night shift for us. So I'll go ahead and begin his day right around the 7 o'clock mark. We'll call it work. Perfect. And we'll give him spare time for 8 hours. We'll give him, say, 4 hours of anything time, and then we'll have him grab a power snooze before his shift begins. We'll try that out and see what happens. For our radio operator, I believe I will have him begin his day at 11 o'clock in the morning. That seems fair. He gets to sleep in. He will work for 8 hours, and I believe I will give him the rest of his time off, as I like to ensure my radio operator will be very fully rested whenever I need him on the hydrophones. So let's see if we can get him to stay in bed for a change. Mr. Oldorp will be running the engines for us. I believe I'll have him begin his day at the 6 o'clock mark in the morning. He will run a 12-hour shift, at which point I would like him to take the night shift completely off so we can continue saving diesel. Mr. Hagnow, I tend to pair with Mr. Oldorp, so I'm going to give him the same schedule. Alright, we'll see what that does for us. Now, as far as our tasks go, I believe this is going to work out on the officer side. However, I've been noticing, when it comes to my ordinary crew, I'm still seeing my officers turning on equipment. This leads me to believe that this priority for power is not high enough. As I don't really understand the Helmsman station particularly well, I think I'm going to swap these two numbers. So I'm going to change these to 5, and I'm going to change these to 8s, because I want people standing by those power switches. Alright, let's see how that works out for us. Mr. Hagnow is on duty, and Mr. Oldorp went to sleep. That's probably due to me messing around with things mid-voyage. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and throw us into some time compression, and again, not being able to control this in this screen, it's not fun. I'll admit something, folks. Moving forward, once I've seen what I feel I need to see out of 127, I'm going to be restarting a new campaign. I'm going to be starting a new campaign, and I'm going to be changing the time back to dynamic, and I'll be turning off crew management. I feel like the crew management system makes this a little bit more of an arcade game. That's how I feel about it. Yes, you do have to put in the time to program each and every one of your officers to a schedule, and that takes work. It takes some management, it takes some forethought. I can appreciate it. At the same vein, it feels very much set and forget to me. So to reiterate, next game we start, I'll be disabling this function here. I want to be able to speed through time using my beloved ×1 and ×5. I like to watch the game. I bought a pretty game. I would like to continue to watch it. And also moving forward, we will be disabling enhanced crew management, because it doesn't do it for me. It's not my thing. When we do that, I will go ahead and try to point out any differences that come up. And that may influence the way people start their games or their style of gameplay. So that's something we will all do together. But for now, we're going to carry on with our patrols with U-96, at least until we can get some upgrades going and feel like we accomplished something. Okay, folks, I will see you in the Atlantic. Alright, we've made it out to sea. I'm going to give the peninsula a wide berth, and we will get ourselves into the English Channel. Skipper should be coming online shortly. There he is. We'll give him some help, as I don't want to be surprised by anything we may sneak up on. There are an awful lot of allied ships in this build. I wouldn't say they were rare in the last build, but they certainly... Well, that's interesting. My crew jumped off of my officers here. I'm wondering if that's because they have a slightly different schedule, the ordinary crew themselves. Mr. Ostman, let's get some radio going. There we go. Yeah. Oh, right. He's programmed now. Mr. Hagnow, shouldn't you have gone to bed by now? Hello? Mr. Hagnow. Mr. Hagnow. Yes, you should be... Okay. I'm not sure what went on there. However, neither Mr. Oldorp nor Mr. Hagnow went to bed. It must be me playing with them again and throwing off their schedule. Mr. Watcher, we're going to drop down to speed 3. Mr. Watcher, can you work the engines for me for the time being and continue preserving diesel? We have a long way to go. No, I want you to have help. You had help a minute ago. So it seems to me like as the shifts rotate, the help leaves your officers. And that to me feels like you would have to combat that with this screen under squads. I would have to specifically add individual sailors that will stay with your officers on any given shift. So I think there's a fix for it. However, I'm just honestly not willing to put in the work. Okay, we'll continue to plot a course through the channel. Get past Portsmouth here. And see if we run into anything fun. Missing worker Helmsman station. Okay, something interesting just happened here. I got an alert that a helmsman... We don't have any sailors working at vital places of the ship. We don't have any sailor working at the helmsman station. We won't be able to turn our ship around. I've also noticed that my ship has decided to head away from our course. So I suppose in our tasks, we really do have to give helmsman a higher level. Okay, so what's taking it over now? Cleaning. Alright. So if we were to say... Let's drop observation to 6s. We will drop depth keeping to 5s. And we'll turn helmsman up to 7. And see if that affects anything. Okay, our ship is coming back to Bergen. Okay. So that was the issue there. Okay, we are going to be traversing under the cover of darkness for a bit. Mr. Watcher, I'll have you... You know what? I think I've got to turn up his management of the engines. I would prefer he jump on the engines whenever he could. Mr. Watcher... Okay, so 10, 9, 8, 7. What if we also made the engines a 9? I wonder if that would be more profitable than warming torpedoes. Let's find out. Yes, he decided to head directly to the engines. Okay, we're figuring it out, folks. We are figuring it out. Okay, we're heading past Portsmouth under the cover of darkness. It is beginning to get light out, however. We're going to have to see if we pick up any contacts. I enjoy the fact that the game does this in that as you are in different areas in the world, it becomes lighter or darker at different times. That is an excellent thing for the devs to have programmed. This concerns me. It being so very shallow and narrow, this is going to be a little tough. It would be ideal to have a snorkel at this point. But it is what it is. We've got what we've got, and we're going to get ourselves to Bergen or die trying. Visual contact. Again, normally when this is a ship, this would be smoke on the horizon or similar. This leads me to believe that this is just another U-boat. I'm not sure how I feel about there being so many U-boats. Go ahead and get that extra 150 budgets. And have Osterman get himself back to bed. Alright, we're heading towards the narrowest part of the channel now. Currently, I have no indications of anything on the horizon. So that's a plus in my book for now. We will see how difficult it's going to be to get through here. Mr. Osterman, let's get a little radio going. Okay, we have about 30 meters under the keel. Still no indications that we're in any kind of danger. Skipper, is there anything outside of your bubble that I should know about? Still tracking nothing on the horizon. Alright. Can't tell if this is lucky or not. Okay. Barring any issues, we're going to continue off into the North Sea and get ourselves to Bergen. I'm a little nervous because the detection system seems to be lacking in a little bit of accuracy in this build. We've seen in previous episodes that targets have been well inside my visual range before I can pick them up. Alright, No Man's Land seems to have been good to us. However, I've got those T3s on board. I feel like I should be shooting them at boats. So we're going to go ahead and drop down to PD. I would very much like to sink something. That would be ideal. Now, can I get Mr. Watcher is awake? I might as well have him switch us over to blue lighting, as not to disturb any of my sleeping officers and throw off their schedule. Missing workers diving plane station. Alright. Sure. Okay, we're at PD. Mr. Osterman, let's go ahead and have you listen on the hydrophone for me. And see if we can't pick us up some targets. Missing worker diving planes. Sure. I really should start taking down the flag before I dive. It's a bit of a giveaway. Oh dear. Well, we're going to head northwest. Get a little closer to all this nonsense up here. Scapa Flow and Letin, I guess? Wait a minute. Lines. Linus? Lines? Isn't that Scapa Flow? Okay, I'm just confused. Okay, nothing. Unfortunate. We could be bugging slightly, I suppose. Let's go ahead and get some red lighting going. Mr. Osterman, how are we doing on stores? Yes, that's why everybody's cranky. We are feeding them nothing but potatoes. Let's go ahead and give them some exotic fruits, and why not some pork chops. Quick note on the multiple food types in the galley. I'm not sure I mentioned. It is fantastic to have the multiple food types to keep your morale up. However, it means your crew will consume food faster. They will consume all of the types in your galley all at one time. So if you do not plan ahead and take an awful lot of food with you to begin, you will run out of food very, very quickly. Okay, again, we're down to half air. Back up we go. One more poke at finding some ships. I mean, we're near two massive naval bases. One would assume that I could find something to shoot at. Okay, I'm not willing to do that anymore. I'm close to being out of power. Just not finding anything to shoot with my fancy new torpedoes. You know what? I should have went around. I should have went all the way around the northern landmass, and maybe I would have picked up something here. This is frustrating. I'm very disappointed about the T3s. One more kick. One more kick. It's going to drop us right down to 30. Maybe there's too much noise up top. Maybe that's the issue. Nothing. Nothing. Chimney smoke 5 to 12. Okay. This might be what we're looking for. This just might be what I've been looking for. And I'm betting it's warships. That just changed direction like 18 times in about 4 seconds. So maybe we're going to get ourselves some Wolfpack stuff going on here. I better get to shoot at something. I'm getting irritated. Okay. Ships ahoy. We've got 5 corvettes and a destroyer. And we may have more. So that's cool. Nope. 2 destroyers. This may be a complete fool's errand. The warships are going to be changing directions so often. Getting a bearing on them is going to be almost impossible. I'm going to go ahead and throw Mr. Osterman at it. I was playing with this in the last episode, and honestly, I'm not sure what's going on. Mr. Oldorp, get on the depth steers, please. Last episode, this process was taking an eternity. We're going to go ahead and see if that's still a problem. Oh yeah, they are all over the place. Let's try these destroyers. Mr. Osterman, do you plan on doing any calculating today? Please? Hello? Oh dear. Mr. Hagnow, do these guys have radar? Yes, and yes. So our periscope is a problem. However, honestly, I'm tired. I've spent over an hour searching for something to kill, and I want to at least shoot at something. Whether or not it shoots back, whether or not we survive, I don't really care at this point. I just want a little bit of action, please. So, Skipper, once they get into range, I'm going to add you to the solution. Please don't change course on me now. Okay, the automatic targeting is working much faster than it did in the last video. I'm thinking I had a bug going on here. So, rather than tempting fate, I am going to go ahead and forget to warm up torpedoes because I'm awesome. We're going to change course a little bit here, maybe, and possibly alert them to our position, but hey, a tribal class. Tribal class. That's new. Alright. We've got a new kind of destroyer to play with. Oh, she's fairly kitted out. We've got 2 sets of cannons, 2 sets of cannons. Alright. What about this fella? You're just a destroyer, apparently. What do you look like? This also appears to be a tribal class, if I was to hazard a guess. Okay. Alright, Mr. Watcher. Mr. Oldorp, you're going to help Mr. Watcher. That's kind of terrifying, because then I've got nobody on the depth steers. But, that's what we're going to go with, currently. I want to shoot something. We've got 3. We're going to try it before they change direction on us. Mr. Hagnow, let's get back on the depth steers, please. And we're going to fire at that tribal class. Okay, the torps appear to be tracking fairly well. Let's go ahead and see if we can see anything.
40 Sekunden bis Torpedoeinschlag. Treffer.
Yes.
Feuer an Deck.
1 tag. 2. I think the 3rd will miss.
Schwere Schäden am Rumpf.
Yep, I would say our 3rd torpedo missed. Alright, folks, let's get low. Tribal class sunk. She went down. She went down. Alright. Whoa, she went down fast. She's gone. She is gone. Hey, she left cheese. And cheese. She left 11 cheese. Good for them. Alright. Ordinarily, destroyers, at least in 126, they would be buzzing like bees by now. Are you gonna ignore me completely? Wow. I feel like the AI is bugged. She is maneuvering. She is alarmed. Is she broken? She's just drifting. Whoa, where'd you come from? Okay. Yep. Down, please. Mr. Hagnow, for the love of God, navigate. I don't understand why you keep not navigating. I think she might try to depth charge us. I guess we're going to find out. Okay, she is dropping depth charges. This is good. Alright. So she started to drop here, and she should roughly drop in a straight line, which means we may be in some danger. We are currently sitting at 120 odd meters, heading down for 150. So there's a couple of schools of thought on what you should be doing here. On the one hand, staying low and slow is important. They might lose you. Secondly, now-ish would be a great time to pop a sonar decoy and zip on out of here no greater than speed 2 or so. The sonar decoy will cover your engine noise up to roughly that point. The other side is you can use depth charges to your advantage. As they detonate, they will deafen all of the warships. They will not be able to hear us. So what I hope to do is wait for the first charge to go off and then slam us into full speed ahead. And with any luck, that'll keep us out of the danger zone. Alright, we are going to listen for that first... Oh dear God, I'm on the bottom. I'm on the bottom. I didn't pay attention to how deep the water is here. Well, crud. Okay, folks, right then and there, remember to pay attention to your surroundings. I was probably being picked up because I'm making noise scraping along the bottom of the ocean. That's also very dangerous because I have no room to get away from these depth charges now. Okay, there it is. That was the first explosion, so we are going to kick the engines into high gear here. There we go. We should be out of harm's way by the time we're close enough to be worried about it. This would also be an excellent time to engage your ventilation if you require air, because again, they're going to be deafened. You can see here the sonar detectability is at 44%, and then 30, and then 32, because the explosions are actually covering us. Okay, she's probably going to throw depth charges directly in our path. Yep. Alright. Let's back up. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Wonder how accurate their depth is. Ooh, pretty accurate. Alright, if they had our exact location, we'd be hurting about now. Those would detonate pretty well right on top of my boat. Alright, those ones weren't as close. Mr. Hagnow, I don't understand why our navigation is moving so slowly. Is it because I can't see? Is that something they've corrected in this build? Before, navigation just worked. Whether you're above the water, under the water, wherever you wanted to be, it was fine. Is it because no one can look outside? Is that why navigation is not increasing very well? It seems like it could be a thing. Sure. And we're coming up on morale problems. Okay, so the morale problems, we never got to dig into it too much. This is the first time we've started to run across it. So when your morale gets down to 0, one of 3 things is going to happen. A crewman could take a heart attack, which means I'm going to have to get Mr. Osterman handling that situation as fast as I can using his med kit. In that moment, we will temporarily gain a little bit of extra discipline because the person dragging it down the most is now, well, he's out of commission. There will also be a timer involved. You must provide medical assistance to that crewman in a certain amount of time, or they will die. The second thing that can happen is a crew member can begin having a freak out, a panic attack. They will begin running back and forth in your ship. Occasionally they will just stand in one place and scream, and they will be shouting and going on. And this will help alert your enemies to your position. It's not very good for us. So what you've got to do is get one of your commanding officers, one of your leaders, to either A, calm that person down, or knock them out. Now, in build 126 and 125, knocking them out was something you could do right away, even though it's a skill set that gets unlocked later. So that leads me to believe that since they do seem to be making small mechanical changes to the game, we may not be able to do that. Hey, we did get 3 hits on that tribal. I only saw 2. Well, not going to complain. Now, the third thing that can happen is one of your crew will prove himself to be a sea wolf. He will get a cute little green icon with a pipe on it, and basically that means he will never ever crack under pressure ever again. Those are the kinds of crew you definitely want to hang on to. Anybody that proves themselves to be a coward or goes into panic mode, you want to get them off your boat. Oop, we are getting a little noisy. You want to get them off your boat because they will break again. That's pretty much a guarantee. So when you get to port under crew management or speaking to the recruitment officer, you go ahead and kick them off your boat and pick yourself up somebody new. You want to hang on to those Seawolves. I see a lot of Let's Plays on YouTube where they tend to make their Seawolves their next officers. That's a valid way to play. I don't see anything wrong with that. At the same time, I'd prefer to have them as crew. I can buy an officer. I can promote an officer. I can make an officer happen. That's not really an issue to me. I want Seawolves as ordinary crew because I want this morale stuff, this discipline stuff, to no longer be a problem for me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We got ourselves a Seawolf. Mr. Eric Luther, at least one of our crewmates turned out to be a Seawolf, a real stoic facing whatever is to come with dignity. The decline in discipline had no effect. Alright, you'll see our discipline leapt back up to 33%. So that's a positive thing that can happen. Okay, depth under keel is 138 for the foreseeable little bit here, so we're going to drop to 128. See if we can keep seabed proximity high. Right now we're sitting at a negative 22% for seabed proximity, so that's a positive for us. 24, 27, 29, 34, 37. Okay, so our sonar detectability is dropping. That is fantastic. So in these situations when you're close to the ocean floor, staying as close as you can without actually banging into it, it's a pretty good tactic. It's served me well over time. And we've got an additional sub. All right. What can we make happen here? Let's see if we can make our submarine friend do something for us. What if we got him to attack... No. No. Okay. We want you to go this way and attack? Is that all I gotta do? Oh, okay. You gotta right click. Right click, so you gotta click this and then right click the target you would like them to attack. Alright. Noted. Oh, another one. Hello. Hey, why don't you shoot at this guy? Do that. And you... Let's continue trying to shoot at that guy, because, well, why not? Okay, we've got ourselves a coward. Neither the skipper nor Mr. Hagnow are appearing to be doing anything about it. Well, wait a minute. Where's the... We just had a coward. Where did he... I wonder if, because they're automated to take care of that, if it just happens instantaneously now instead of making me wait. A V-class. A V-class destroyer. What's a V-class? Okay. So this one looks a little different. Alright. Cannon. Cannon. Well, she's certainly not as scary as some of the others. V-class destroyer. Alright. Whoa. Hey! I almost missed it. This sub fired at this, little boat. Is she gonna hit her? I heard the torpedoes leave the tubes. Ooh! Managed to tag her. He managed to tag her once. Hey, good job, little guy. Fantastic work. Oop. Heard another torpedo leave a tube. And she's taking another shot at her. Fantastic. Alright, so the Seawolf mechanic works. It's just doesn't work exactly like I would have seen it in my head. Just fine. Oh, it looks good. Oh, it looks good. Come on, torpedo. Come on. Come on. Boom! Nicely done. Nicely done. Oh, I think she's gonna go down. She gonna go down? Maybe? Ooh, not looking too healthy. Not looking very healthy at all. Oh, whoa! Just everything flew off the deck. That was fantastic. Hey, good job, little sub. Good job, sub friend. And that whoa, the fire was burning underwater there for a second. That was neat. There goes her cargo. Some more cheese. The warships are big on cheese, I've noticed. Alright. Warships like cheese. Good to know. Hang on. Oh, okay. It looks like I get credit for sinking that Isles. I got myself another Seawolf. You don't... apparently in this build, I don't have to pay attention to morale anymore. It either sorts itself out, or I get more Seawolves. Another Seawolf? My god, man. Is it because I'm on U96, which is the easy one? Is that what's going on here? This makes no sense. By now, in previous builds, I would have had like 10 heart attacks on my hands, something like that. So this is a patrol sector. They just keep bouncing back and forth here to here. I mean, good to know that that's a sector in which I can find warships. They're just patrolling that one area. Whoa. And there's that times 18,000. It's dangerous. I almost blew the batteries. Alright, let's bring us up. Gotta watch that 18,000. I'm telling you. It's dangerous. Time compression in realistic is dangerous. You can easily accidentally kill yourself, no problem whatsoever. Okay, we failed our T3 mission. We just couldn't get that third shot away. I hunted from here all the way up the coast, near these bases, and the best we could end up with was a couple of warships in the North Sea. We managed to score 3 of our hits. Just couldn't get that fourth. Disappointed. Disappointed in that, for sure. Alright, Port of Bergen. Look at that. Finally made it. Alright, looks like the sub pens are right over here. Go ahead and get ourselves steered into position. Maybe this one? Hopefully that's enough room to maneuver. Looks a little tight. And here we are in the port of Bergen. Yep, report to officer. Cool. Leading officer is here. Welcome to your new flotilla. Alright, Mr. Hag now receives the Iron Cross second class. And gets a little more points towards the first. Didn't he get the second class in the last episode? Anyway. Knight's Cross coming up for the skipper. Okay, we sunk 0 tonnage. I pointed out very early on in my tutorials that unless they are freighters, they do not count towards your tonnage. So we went ahead and sank a tribal class, and we stole the kill of an Isles from an ally sub. We did not complete our prototype torpedoes mission. We were at sea for 9 days, 14 hours, a total distance traveled of 8,682 K. Alright, we've got 4 level ups across the board. Of course, Mr. Hag now missed out on the extra experience in the last port. So we're going to go ahead and fire in some upgrades. Alright, Mr. Oldorp, I'll have you consume 25% less time performing repairs. Mr. Osterman, I will have you... Oh dear. May provide medical help without a first aid kit. Well, I've got first aid kits, so I'm fine. With first aid kits, this is done twice as fast as normal. Currently, I need that. I need better hydrophone stuff. The speed, comparatively to the last couple of builds, is very, very slow. Kind of worried about it from a developer standpoint, from a game standpoint. It may drive people away from the title. Having to spend just hours upon hours in-game time chasing a target, trying to get a solution on it, even if it's going straight and narrow on one speed. It's very... I'm not sure about that one. Oh, Mr. Graf has 2 skill points. We must have missed one in the last port. We're going to go ahead and increase his focus on the UZO. And I guess we're going to give him the ability to cook. Because, hey, who doesn't want the skipper providing a hot meal for the crew? Alright folks, we're coming up on the 2-hour mark, so I'm going to go ahead and end the episode here. If there's anything I touched on that wasn't made clear, please go ahead and hit me up in the comments. Please consider joining the Discord. We're having an awful lot of conversations about the title down there. We also have rooms dedicated to streaming, recording, PC parts, all that kind of good stuff. So swing on by, say hi. I like talking to the community. Okay, and with all that out of the way, I've been Lightly Salted. Thanks for tuning in. Bye now.